What do you think are the big challenges right now for entrepreneurs in London or just people in London to get this city back to work?
Well, the devil's in the detail of every single business. And I've never been a pundit to say that there are any general solutions to anything. I can tell you about what happens in my businesses. And right now, this COVID-19, obviously it's been a setback, but the world progresses. It's just we were a very, very lucky generation. We didn't go to war. It ain't that big a deal. And it actually throws up, and has for me, throws up lots of opportunities. So when the world changes, when the landscape changes, there's opportunities if you are of an entrepreneurial spirit. So to go back to your question, is there a general sort of panacea of what people can do? The truth is, you've got to keep going. You've got to put the detail in and make things do. And I don't think there is. I think what's interesting is that we all criticize government. It seems like a national sport to criticize whatever they're doing. Actually, it doesn't do us any good, because we'd be much better off to support what people are doing, because they don't know what we're doing. If we were leading the thing, we probably wouldn't. There is no simple answer. What is good is that the experience we get in government from going through all of this, when the next pandemic comes along, which is quite likely that something else will happen, it's just that's how the world unfolds, we'll know an awful lot to do, what works and what doesn't work. In fact, we're doing it better now than we did at the beginning. So things progress.
Yeah. You talked about this entrepreneur mindset, which is, I think, really important. A lot of people with small and medium-sized businesses, they've done the same thing pretty much for the last 10 years, expecting the same circumstances. They haven't had to innovate and be creative, which is uncomfortable for many people. And to look at this landscape and say, wow, as opposed to complaining or crying, saying, wow, there's actually all these new opportunities. There's digital opportunities. I can do this with my business. For someone who's not used to doing that, can you teach an entrepreneurial mindset, or can they go through some thought processes to maybe find a way to salvage their business or find new business?
It's quite interesting that you say that for a lot of people it's very difficult to innovate and do new things. It's not for me. That's what I do, is that I'm only happy when I'm innovating and doing something new, because I only feel safe if I'm doing something so in my sort of 60s vernacular that blows people's minds, and people go, oh, wow, you've got to go and have a look at that. I always tell the people in our businesses that we're actually not that clever. It's just that everybody else isn't sometimes terribly clever. So don't get above yourself. But I don't know if you can teach creativity. I left school when I was 16 with 2 English O-levels, which is the exams you take when you're about 16. And that's very few. Most people have 7, 8 or 10. A helicopter going overhead here. And so I left school with and I always think that the reason I'm creative, if you like, I'm a creative businessman, as well as being a businessy businessman, is that I never had the imagination educated out of me, because I think that what we do a lot of times in schools is we put the fear of God into these kids. Unless they get these, especially from parents, unless they get this exam or that exam, they're never going to be safe in their life, and you've got to do this, that and the other. And actually, I'm living proof that it's better not to be too educated, because you can go off and do things. So I think the big thing that we can do is not over a sort of 3 or 4 year period, over the next 20 or 30 years period, and we're on the right track, is change education, we're educating much more rounded people to be good at relationships, to be good at getting up and doing things, to be organized, to keep good lists, all the things that we know in business make things happen, to be enthusiastic, to get excited, to do more daydreaming, not less. I think we are naturally changing, actually, and I think education is changing in that. I heard somebody saying, one of the Google guys saying that education in the 21st century will be more about self-education. So in a 50-minute lesson, you'll get 5 or 10 minutes of a guy standing up at the front of the classroom like me and you used to have to put up with, and more just doing research. And doing things that you're interested in and finding out on the internet what you're interested in.